Coachella 2025 is here. The set times are out, and I wanted to take a moment to recommend or to at least give you how I would play it. Given the set times, sometimes you have to make sacrifices. There are decisions to make. You might have to forego seeing one artist in order to see another. So Friday through Sunday, based on my musical tastes and preferences, these are the conflicts that I would run into, and this is how I would resolve them. On Friday, I would start off with seeing Raven Lenae at 2:35. Raven Lenae is a very pleasant sounding R&B-ish indie soul singer. This would be perfect for the afternoon. So yeah, this would be my first watch, Raven Lenae. And she's going on the Mojave stage. After she gets off at 3:15, I would go over to the Sonora stage to catch Tops. This is a pretty cool dreamy indie band. They go on at 3:50, so I would go from Raven Lenae to Tops. Now, if I'm ready to leave Tops' set early, because they go on until 4:30, but if I want to leave a little bit early, I would go over to the main Coachella stage, the biggest stage, to catch the Sacred Souls. Sacred Souls is one of those throwback, retro, soul revival groups. You know how you've got different groups now like Duran and the Indications or the Sinceres? There are different groups that really sound like they come straight out of the 60s and 70s. Think Motown era, and they just have a really nostalgic sound. The Sacred Souls are one of those groups, so I would probably go from Tops over to see the Sacred Souls, and then I might as well stay at the Coachella stage to catch Marina. She used to go by Marina and the Diamonds. She's just a really good sounding pop singer, and when it comes to pop singers, I really listen for the melody and I really listen to the pop songwriting. Marina and the Diamonds, like as far back as like the early 2010s, has been one of the better popish artists when it comes to their overall developed sound and just how pleasant that pop sound is. Marina, formerly known as Marina and the Diamonds, is one of those artists. So I would catch both the Sacred Souls and Marina at the Coachella stage. Now, in doing so, I'm going to be missing the Memphis rap legends, 3 6 Mafia. DJ Paul and Juicy J are the two who are still pretty much carrying the torch. They used to be much bigger of a group membership-wise back in the 90s and early 2000s. Rest in peace, Gangsta Boo. Rest in peace, Lord Infamous. But yeah, the two remaining 3 6 Mafia members I'm going to be missing because I stayed at the Coachella stage to catch the Sacred Souls and Marina. Now, after Marina goes off, she finishes up at 6:30. I could either get over to the outdoor theater and catch Tyla. She's kind of one of the buzzier R&B-ish artists right now. I could either catch her or I could catch the Best New Artist Grammy nominee, Benson Boone. He's the one who dresses up in the leotards and could do like front flips and back flips, super acrobatic, excellent performer. I'm not the biggest fan of his music, but performance-wise, I just feel like he might be one of those must-see artists at this year's Coachella. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to be staying at the Coachella stage for a while, and in doing so, again, I'm going to be missing a lot. If I stay from the Sacred Souls to Marina and stay for Benson Boone over Tyla, I'm going to be missing Tyla. I'm going to be missing Lisa from Blackpink. Lisa also played Mook on The White Lotus, that HBO or Max TV show. That was Lisa from Blackpink, who has recently launched her solo career. So yeah, I would be missing Lisa, which I'd imagine is going to be huge, just in terms of the amount of people who are going to be checking that performance out. I'd imagine that it might be so huge that you might get good positioning at the Coachella stage if you hang out in the way that I would be hanging out. So after Benson Boone, you might as well stay, because you can either go to the outdoor theater to catch the Marias, or you could go over to the Mojave stage to catch Mike Snow. If you've got the early 2010s, late 2000s nostalgia bug, you might want to catch Mike Snow, who had a really good 2009-ish album with songs like Animal and Sylvia. I remember really liking that album when it dropped. But yeah, Mike Snow hasn't released a ton over the past 15 or so years. But Mike Snow is going to be performing on the Mojave stage, and then the rapper Yeet, who's kind of, Travis Scott-like. Yeet, who's dropped a couple good albums in 2024, he's going to be on the Sahara stage, but I'm going to be staying on the Coachella stage for like a 4th consecutive artist, but this one's going to be Missy Elliott. Yeah, if you want to see Missy, you might as well get some good positioning while Benson Boone is up and just stick around at the Coachella stage. Missy takes the stage at 9 p.m. I think that she's going to be one of the must-sees this Coachella. Now, being that I would have been at that stage for such a long time, I'm probably near the front now, because if you stay at one stage, you can start working your way closer and closer to the stage. So since I would have been there since like before 5 p.m. watching the Sacred Souls, Marina, Benson Boone, and then Missy Elliott, I'll probably be near the front by that point. And if I'm there and Missy Elliott exits the stage at 9:55, why stop there unless I want to catch Glorilla at 10:25 on the Sahara stage? I recently discovered that Glorilla, the really popular rapper who, I mean, she's just been blowing up like over the past couple of years. Her manager used to manage my sister back in the day. Yeah, shout out to Joie, who now manages Glorilla. But I would be missing that performance by staying at the Coachella stage after Missy so I could catch the headliner, Lady Gaga. Like, I feel like that's just one of those, you know, like bucket lists, like being up front. I remember back in 2010, I was near the front for Jay-Z headlining. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like, that's one of the points of going to Coachella, trying to catch the biggest artists, see if you could position yourself somewhat well. And I would have done so having stayed at the Coachella stage for that long. So that's how I would play it. Yes, I would be missing a lot, but I would go from Raven Lenae to Tops to the Sacred Souls to Marina to Benson Boone to Missy Elliott to Lady Gaga. That's Friday. Now for Saturday, I kind of feel like I've got to start it off with Weezer at 3:10 in the afternoon. Yeah, Weezer was a late addition to this lineup. They're going to be performing at 3:10, the famous 90s alternative rock group. I mean, Buddy Holly, the Sweater Song, Say It Ain't So, the Island in the, what's that one? Island in the Sun. Yeah, they've got a lot of hits from the 90s to the early 2000s. But yeah, Weezer is going to be performing, and that would be how I would start Saturday at the Mojave stage. After that, I can either catch T-Pain on the main stage, the big Coachella stage, or I could catch Japanese Breakfast. They come on at around the same time. T-Pain starts at 5:25. T-Pain, by the way, can really sing. I mean, he won a season of The Masked Singer, and he's basically been showing how talented he is in his, I would say, post-auto-tune era. I really hope that he blows up again. I mean, he had some tremendous songs in the mid-2000s, and then I feel like he got unjustly chastised for using auto-tune. Well, listen to today's rap R&B-ish artists. They all use it now. But yeah, T-Pain kind of pioneered it. He wasn't the first to use it. You had people as far back as like the 70s, you know, Peter Frampton, Zapp, and Roger Troutman. You've had several. But yeah, T-Pain really popularized it again in the mid, I would say, yeah, early-ish to mid-2000s. But yeah, he's going to be performing at 5:25. Japanese Breakfast, the indie rock, indie pop, kind of dreamy artist, pretty good singer-songwriter, Michelle Zauner, I think her real name is. But she's going to be performing at the Outdoor Theater. But I'm actually gonna go over to the Gobi stage. So I'll be missing T-Pain and Japanese Breakfast so I can catch Viagra Boys. Viagra Boys, they are one of the funner artists on this whole lineup. Like, that is one of my must-sees. They are a pop punk band, and their music is so fun and outrageous and catchy. I just have to see Viagra Boys. They're probably like a top 5 artist that I need to see from this year's Coachella. So again, I would go from Weezer, who get off stage at 3:55. Then I would catch Viagra Boys for 5:15. That's gonna be a fun performance. One of the funnest, I'd imagine, in the whole weekend. After that, I'm gonna turn it down a bit. You go from like the pop punk band, Viagra Boys. I'm gonna go from there to the Outdoor Theater to catch Gustavo Dudamel and the LA Philharmonic. If you want that classical vibe, catch Dudamel and the LA Phil at 6:25 at the Outdoor Theater. But I'm gonna have to leave that one early to catch Charli XCX at the Coachella stage at 7:15. Last year was a brat summer. I feel like Charli XCX is must see this year. And if I catch Charli XCX, I might as well stay to catch Green Day about an hour later. In doing so, I'm gonna miss Claro. Claro was one of the Grammy nominated artists this past year. Indie artist, kind of bedroom pop, had a really good album in 2024. Just listen to the lead single from that album, Sexy to Someone. Really cool song, but I thought that whole album was pretty consistent. I really like Claro, so it's gonna kind of suck that I would be missing Claro to catch Charli XCX and then Green Day. I would also be missing Dark Side. That's Nicholas Jar's project. They just dropped a couple weeks ago. Pretty good album. I would be missing Dark Side and Claro, but I would be catching Charli XCX and Green Day. Who knows? I'm kind of giving like what my recommendations would be based on my taste, but really based on my taste, I'm the type who might miss Charli XCX so I could catch Claro because she's going to be on that same stage as Dudamel and the LA Philharmonic, I could just stay, catch Claro like less than an hour later, rather than going on and catching the mega artist, Charli XCX. But yeah, let's go with Charli XCX at the Coachella stage. You stay for Green Day, and then you might as well stay for Travis Scott, who's probably going to be the most lit artist out of anybody, including like Lady Gaga. Travis Scott is a notoriously, I mean, sometimes for the wrong reason, because of the tragedy at the Astroworld Festival, but Travis Scott is a historically popular live performer. Like his performances and concerts are a thing of legend. That's why he had the Astroworld Festival. I mean, the tragedy happened. It is what it is. It was terrible, but Travis Scott is a generationally great live performer, just in terms of his fanfare, how hyped everyone gets, how massive some of his crowds are. Travis Scott might be the biggest must-see across the whole weekend. So again, since I'm already at the Coachella stage, having caught Charli XCX, Green Day, might as well stick around, catch the, the biggest artist arguably of them all, Travis Scott. But in doing so, I would have missed the original Misfits, the punk band, the Misfits, at the outdoor theater, and I would also be missing Beth Gibbons, the singer from Portishead, who would be performing at 9:40 on the Gobi stage. That would be a little bit unfortunate, because I would like to see Beth Gibbons. But again, I mean, if you got the opportunity to catch Charli XCX, Green Day, Travis Scott, you might as well do it, even at the expense of missing Darkside, Beth Gibbons, Claro, and so forth. So yeah, that's how I would play it on Saturday. Now for Sunday, I would be starting Sunday a little bit later than Saturday and Friday. I would be starting at 4:10, catching Money Long, the R&B singer who is a Grammy Award. I know she's been Grammy nominated. Has she? I believe she's Grammy Award winning, but she hits the Mojave stage at 4:10. So that's how I would start that off. I would go from her to catch the kind of pop, hyper pop in a way, just really playful ear candy, Amaray, who is a combination of like Afro beats, R&B, pop, hyper pop. She is Ghanaian by descent, but she's from Bronx, New York City. She had a really good, I think it was a 2022 album, or no, it was a 2023 album, Fountain Baby. So yeah, I would go from Money Long to Amaray, who would be at the Gobi stage. Then I would go right back over to the Mojave stage to catch Rema. Rema's the one who's got that breakout single with Selena Gomez on the remix. It was called Calm Down. Rema is one of the more popular Afrobeats artists from Nigeria. It's kind of, a mix of Afrobeats and trap and just different modern sounds, pop rap, if you will. But yeah, I would go from Money Long to Amaray to Rema, and then I would go back over to the Gobi stage to catch Big X the Plug. He's one of the up and coming rappers. He's from Dallas, Texas, and he's got a couple pretty good albums. One called Amar, the other called Take Care from 2023 and 2024. He's got this cadence that he does repeat in a lot of his songs, like a certain rhythm that he raps with. You know how DaBaby has his signature cadence? Well, Big X the Plug kind of has like this triple cadence that he feels very comfortable in that pocket, but it works beat over beat. And it's really like the combination of that cadence, his voice, his Southern dialect, Southern slang, and the beats that make for the winning recipe, if you will, that is Big X the Plug's music. So yeah, I would go from Money Long to Amaray to Rema to Big X the Plug. Now I would go over to the main Coachella stage once again to catch Megan Thee Stallion, and then stay there to catch Post Malone. But you know what? I think that I would actually switch it up. I think I would have to forego and maybe miss some of Post Malone. Like there's this band that's performing at the Gobi stage that is just too fun to ignore. It's Amyl and the Sniffers. They are a really fun pop punk band from Australia. And I've been into a couple of their albums, and their stuff is so hype. And Amy Martin, the lead singer, she is so unique as a frontman, or in this case frontwoman, of this punk band, and it just sets them apart. I kind of have to see Amyl and the Sniffers. I've been wanting to see them for a while, just as they normally tour. Haven't had a chance to do so. So yeah, I would probably choose Amyl and the Sniffers over Post Malone. And I remember meeting Post Malone when I was running warehouse venues in South LA. He would be a frequent guest while there were other headliners, because Post Malone at that time had just dropped his White Iverson single. So he wasn't like a worldwide star yet. He was an up and coming rapper who was like a part of other rappers' entourages at the time. And he was just kind of a part of the scene. But yeah, he was a really nice dude. And I mean, I remember like when he introduced himself as Post Malone, I thought it was kind of funny, just the name, because Karl Malone was a basketball player who used to play in the Post. So I thought that it was a reference to that, but, and it still might be. I know his name is Austin Post, but Post Malone, I think, you know, has some NBA significance. But yeah, he was a young dude, nice dude. I'm just glad to see how much his career has just blown the hell up over the past 8 or so years. It's been pretty crazy. It's weird when you meet somebody right before they get famous and then they get as famous as Post Malone. But yeah, I think that I would have to miss Post Malone to catch Amyl and the Sniffers. That's how much fun I think this pop punk band is. So in doing so, I would also be missing Kraftwerk and Ty Dolla $ign. And I'd imagine Ty Dolla $ign is gonna have some pretty significant guests, as will Mustard, by the way, either a night or 2 nights prior. Mustard is gonna be like on another stage while the headliner is at the Coachella stage. So Mustard and Ty Dolla $ign, I'd imagine, will have some pretty good featured guests, being that it's gonna be in LA, and you know, who knows who might pop up on that stage given the different artists that they have collaborated with. But yeah, I would be missing Ty Dolla $ign and I would be missing Kraftwerk, as well as Post Malone, at least some of his set, while I'm trying to catch Amyl and the Sniffers. I might catch Amyl and the Sniffers, then try to catch like the tail end of Post Malone's set. But yeah, let me know how you would play it given the set times. Again, there are often conflicts. You want to see both artists, but you got to choose one or the other. And sometimes you have to kind of position yourself. If you want to be well positioned for an artist, you know, 2 artists down the line, you might have to start positioning yourself 1 or 2 performances before that. But yeah, that's how I would play it Monday through Sunday. Let me know how you would do it and who your must-watch artists from the Coachella weekend are. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love music like I do. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.